Paris, the city of light, romance, art, croissants, and a whole lot of darkness lurking beneath those cobblestone streets. Today, we're diving deep into the twisted, bizarre, and downright creepy history that guidebooks conveniently forget to mention. These aren't your typical Eiffel Tower facts. This is the Paris that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. Let's count down the 20 strangest facts about the French capital, from the unusual to the absolutely unbelievable. Number 20. The Saw Kingdom. Paris isn't just built up, it's built down. Way down. Beneath the city lies a fully functioning underground empire of saws spanning hundreds of kilometers. And here's the kicker, this subterranean world has its own street signs, mirroring the city above. In the 19th century, authorities were so proud of this engineering marvel that they offered guided boat tours through the flowing waste. Yes, tourists actually paid to cruise through sewage. The network became so extensive that it's been used for everything from Hugo's Les Miserables to modern-day maintenance crews who navigate it like an underground city. Talk about taking urban planning to another level. Number 19. The Louvre Heist. Here's something that'll blow your mind. The Mona Lisa wasn't always the superstar painting we know today. In fact, she was just another Renaissance portrait collecting dust, until 1911, when a handyman named Vincenzo Peruggia walked into the Louvre, lifted the painting off the wall, tucked it under his coat, and casually strolled out the door. The theft sparked international headlines, conspiracy theories, and even wrongly implicated Pablo Picasso. For 2 years, the painting was missing. When it was finally recovered in Italy, the publicity from the heist had transformed Da Vinci's work into the world's most famous painting. Sometimes crime really does pay, just not for the criminal. Number 18. The cemetery ban. Here's a law that sounds like dark comedy. In the late 1700s, Paris essentially outlawed dying within city limits. Well, not dying exactly, but being buried there. Overcrowded cemeteries had become biohazard zones, literally overflowing with corpses and spreading disease throughout the city. The solution? Shut down all inner-city burial grounds and force cemeteries to relocate outside the walls. Suddenly, if you wanted a proper burial, you had to be carted out of the city limits. This wasn't just bureaucracy, it was a desperate attempt to stop the dead from killing the living. Number 17. The Nazi time bomb plane plot. August 1944. Paris liberation is imminent, and Hitler gives an order that would have changed history forever: destroy Paris. German General Dietrich von Koltitz received explicit commands to demolish the Eiffel Tower, blow up every bridge over the Seine, and reduce the city to rubble. Explosives were placed, timers set, planes fueled. But von Koltitz hesitated. French resistance fighters cut cables. And in one of history's most fortunate acts of disobedience, the general simply refused Hitler's order. Had he obeyed, Paris as we know it wouldn't exist. One man's defiance saved the world's most beautiful city from being bombed into oblivion. Number 16. Fake Paris. Speaking of bombing, let's rewind to World War I. French military strategists faced a problem. German bombers kept targeting Paris at night. Their solution? Build a second Paris. No, seriously. North of the real city, they constructed a full-scale decoy complete with fake lighting, wooden replicas of major landmarks, and even simulated factories with controlled fires to mimic industrial activity. This dummy city was designed to fool German pilots into dropping their bombs on empty fields. The elaborate deception was nearly complete when the war ended. Imagine explaining to future generations, yeah, we just casually built a fake Paris. No big deal. Number 15. The Phantom Metro. Ever feel like you're being watched on the Paris Metro? You might be passing through the city's ghost stations. About a dozen phantom stations were sealed off before and during World War II, frozen in time like underground time capsules. Arsenal, St. Martin, and others remain perfectly preserved behind locked gates, complete with 1930s advertising posters and vintage tilework. If you know when to look out the window, you can spot these eerie, abandoned platforms as your train rushes past. They're like snapshots of a Paris that stopped existing decades ago, waiting silently in the dark. Number 14. The street that fell into hell. The year was 1774. The street's name, Rue d'Enfer, literally, Hell Street. And on one catastrophic day, it lived up to its name. Without warning, an entire city block collapsed, swallowing carts, buildings, and people into a massive sinkhole. They'd literally fallen into long-forgotten limestone quarries beneath Paris. The ground just opened up and ate them. This terrifying incident forced authorities to finally inspect what was actually under their feet, leading to the discovery of hundreds of miles of unstable tunnels threatening to bring down the entire city. Turns out, Paris had been built on Swiss cheese, and nobody knew until the streets started disappearing. Number 13. The skeleton discovered on a rooftop. Fast forward to 2004. Urban explorers, modern-day adventurers who infiltrate abandoned spaces, snuck into a restricted area beneath the Palais de Chaillot. What they found defied explanation: a fully equipped secret cinema, complete with electricity, projection equipment, a stocked bar, and carved-out seating areas. Someone had been running an underground movie theater in one of Paris's most secure locations. But the real shock: a human skeleton, left behind like a forgotten prop. To this day, nobody knows who built the cinema, who the skeleton belonged to, or how this elaborate operation went undetected. The cinema was dismantled, but questions remain. Number 12. The Phantom of the Opera's Lake. You thought the Phantom of the Opera was pure fiction? Think again. Beneath the Opera Garnier, there's an actual underground lake. When construction began in the 1860s, workers hit the water table, creating a massive flooding problem. Instead of fighting it, architect Charles Garnier simply incorporated it into the design, creating an artificial underground reservoir to stabilize the foundation. This mysterious subterranean body of water directly inspired Gaston Leroux when he wrote his famous novel. The Phantom's Lair wasn't fantasy, it was based on a very real, very dark underground lake where maintenance workers still navigate by boat. Number 11. The Poisoner's Network. The 1670s. The court of Louis XIV. And beneath the glittering surface of Versailles, a scandal was brewing that would shake French nobility to its core. Welcome to the Affair of the Poisons, where aristocrats created a thriving black market for deadly substances. We're talking love potions, assassination tools, and black magic ceremonies. High society ladies consulted fortune tellers and poison dealers to eliminate rivals, control lovers, or secure inheritances. When the conspiracy unraveled, it implicated some of the most powerful people in France. Mass arrests followed. Executions were carried out. Even the king's own mistress fell under suspicion. The scandal revealed that Paris's upper crust was literally poisoning each other at dinner parties. Hey, if you're enjoying these twisted tales from Paris's dark side, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more historical deep dives. Trust me, we're just getting to the really strange stuff. Number 10. The Bloody Square. Place de la Concorde. Today, it's one of Paris's most beautiful public squares. But during the French Revolution, it had a different name, Place de la Révolution. And it was drenched in blood. Over 1,100 people lost their heads here to the guillotine's blade. King Louis XVI, beheaded. Queen Marie Antoinette, beheaded. Revolutionary leader Robespierre, who sent so many to their deaths, beheaded on the very same spot. For years, crowds gathered daily to watch executions like they were sporting events. The ground was permanently stained red. Workers had to lay fresh sawdust constantly to soak up the blood. Today's tourists taking selfies have no idea they're standing on one of history's bloodiest killing fields. Number 9. The Last Witch. Meet the Marquise de Brinvilliers, noblewoman, serial killer, and possibly history's most calculating murderer. In the 1670s, she systematically poisoned her father, 2 brothers, and possibly dozens more to secure her inheritance. But here's where it gets truly dark. She tested her poisons on hospital patients first, bringing treats to the poor and sick, then documenting how long they took to die and what symptoms appeared. When finally caught, tried, and executed in 1676, authorities were so disturbed by her crimes that they had her beheaded, burned her body, and scattered the ashes in the Seine River. They literally tried to erase her from existence. Number 8. The Flood of Corpses. Picture this, it's raining heavily in 18th century Paris. Shop owners head down to their cellars and discover something that'll haunt them forever: human bodies. Decomposing corpses floating in the floodwater. The city's cemeteries had become so overcrowded, packed so far beyond capacity, that heavy rainfall caused them to overflow like backed-up sores. Dead bodies and skeletal remains poured into streets, basements, and wells. The smell alone was unbearable. This grotesque crisis became one of the primary reasons officials decided to empty the cemeteries and create the catacombs. Sometimes the dead literally refused to stay buried. Number 7. The human flesh pies. This is the legend that launched 1,000 nightmares and allegedly inspired Sweeney Todd. Near Isle de la Cite, the story goes that a barber and a baker ran a profitable partnership. The barber would slit customers' throats in his chair, then deliver the bodies through a connected basement to the baker next door, who turned the remains into meat pies. The pies were supposedly delicious, popular, and absolutely made from human flesh. While historians debate whether this actually happened or was urban legend, the tale persisted for centuries in Paris folklore. And the scariest part? Similar stories appeared in court records from multiple European cities. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire, or in this case, an oven. Number 6. The Vampire Hospital. The 19th century in Paris saw medicine evolve, but not always in ways we'd approve of today. The Hôtel Dieu Hospital and various medical schools regularly performed experimental surgeries and autopsies before audiences of curious spectators. This wasn't medical education, it was entertainment. People bought tickets to watch doctors dissect bodies, perform risky experimental procedures on living patients, and demonstrate new surgical techniques. The operating theaters were literally theaters, with stadium seating and crowds cheering or gasping at the bloodshed. Patients became involuntary performers in medical shows. It was science, spectacle, and horror all rolled into one gruesome package. Number 5. The Catacombs. And now we arrive at one of Paris's most infamous features. Right now, beneath the streets where tourists snap photos and locals sip coffee, 6 million dead bodies rest in eternal darkness. When I say 6 million, I mean 6 million actual human skeletons, arranged in walls of bone stretching through roughly 200 miles of tunnel. In the late 18th century, those overflowing cemeteries we mentioned earlier triggered a full-blown health crisis. Bodies were literally spilling into the streets. So Paris made a decision: empty the graveyards and move everyone underground into abandoned limestone quarries. For years, workers transported cartloads of bodies in midnight processions, stacking skulls and femurs into the elaborate ossuaries we see today. It's the world's largest grave, a monument to death itself, sitting directly beneath one of the world's most beautiful cities. Number 4. The Champagne Catacombs. Now that you know about the catacombs, here's where it gets even weirder. In the 1800s, Parisian vintners discovered these bone-filled tunnels maintained a perfect, steady temperature for aging their finest champagne. So they just set up shop among the dead. Barrels and bottles rested beside 6 million skeletons, and apparently, nobody found this remotely disturbing. The champagne industry boomed while literally surrounded by bones. Imagine popping open a bottle aged to perfection, knowing it spent years inches away from stacks of human skulls. Makes you wonder what gave those vintage bottles their unique flavor profile. Number 3. The Hidden Nazi Tunnels. The catacombs weren't just resting places for the dead, they became strategic military assets. During World War II, Nazi forces fortified sections of the underground labyrinth, turning them into storage facilities and secret bunkers. Meanwhile, French resistance fighters operated from neighboring tunnels, sometimes mere meters away from German soldiers. This created a bizarre underground war where opposing forces navigated the same maze of bones and darkness, never quite sure who they might encounter around the next corner. The catacombs became a hidden battlefield where 6 million skeletons witnessed a very different kind of death. Number 2. The Paris Morgue. In the 1800s, Paris had an attraction more popular than the Louvre, more visited than Notre Dame: the Paris Morgue. This wasn't a private facility, it was a public exhibition space where unidentified corpses were displayed behind glass windows for anyone to view. And people came. 30 to 40,000 visitors daily. Families brought children. People brought snacks and sketchbooks. They'd spend hours staring at dead bodies, treating it like a day at the museum. The morgue even adjusted corpses into dramatic poses and added theatrical lighting to attract bigger crowds. It became such a popular tourist attraction that the government eventually shut it down in 1907, deciding maybe death shouldn't be entertainment. Number 1. The Guillotines Longevity. Here's the fact that'll blow your mind about how recently barbaric executions occurred. France used the guillotine, that iconic symbol of 18th century revolution, until 1977. That's right. The same year Star Wars premiered in theaters, France was still publicly beheading criminals. The last person executed was Hamida Jandoubi, convicted of murder, who lost his head on September 10, 1977. Meanwhile, people around the world were lining up to watch Luke Skywalker battle Darth Vader. France didn't abolish the death penalty entirely until 1981. Modern France and medieval execution methods coexisted far longer than anyone likes to admit. This might be the single most jarring reminder that the distant past wasn't really that distant at all. So there you have it, 20 facts that prove Paris isn't just champagne and romance. This city has a dark side that's been buried, sometimes literally, beneath centuries of history. From underground lakes to public morgue exhibitions, from champagne aged next to corpses to streets that swallowed people whole, Paris has stories that would make even the bravest historian uncomfortable. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these facts disturbed you the most? Or better yet, have you been to Paris? Did you visit any of these places, and did they feel different knowing these stories? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you know any strange historical facts about other cities that can compete with Paris's dark legacy, share those too. Thanks for watching, and remember, next time you're strolling through the City of Light, just remember what's lurking in the shadows beneath your feet. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history's strangest corners. Until next time, stay curious, and maybe avoid the basement.